Have we gotten here because of incompetence, you would argue, or because of policies that the American people voted for?
Well, it's a plan. It's certainly a plan, but it's not what the American people voted for. Especially because if you look at it, a lot of it has actually, in fact, been sold under false pretenses, too. You know, we were told, for instance, that $1.9 trillion COVID rescue plan, which was the first big spending blowout, which played such a big role in the inflation we're seeing now. We were told it was because we really needed it to help with COVID. The problem is that we'd already spent 5 bills before that, and most of that money went for other priorities. And that's my point, is that this was all for reasons. I think that it's nonetheless played an enormous problem in the economy. These are self-created problems, but there was a purpose behind them.
Right. No, I guess what I'm getting at is that are the voters getting what they asked for?
Absolutely
and just not understood? Okay, fair,
no,
fair.
I mean, I think that, yeah.
So that argument would lead us to believe that Republicans coming in 2024 should have a really good chance here, right?
You'd think so.
Right. And I think, and if we look at 2022 in terms of what did happen versus also what should have happened based on the polling numbers and everything else, Republicans had a disaster. You think about Pennsylvania, Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, both Senate and governors in some states, Senate in the other. Are Republicans going to blow it again?
Well, I think that really depends on what nominee they get. Look, here's the problem, is that you look at the polls and it's very clear Americans are unhappy with the economic situation in this country and the leadership out of the White House. Right. But they have not been able to focus on that because Democrats have done such a good job of making this issue about Donald Trump, January 6th, their claims of an ultra-mega Republican Party. I really believe that if Trump is nominated again, that they're going to repeat that. I think that Republicans have a better shot if they've got a different candidate and they can refocus on the issues that are at hand. They won't.
But if things are so bad, as you point out in the book, why does the nominee matter? Shouldn't it not matter?
Oh, well, you know, I'll draw the contrast in the book to the Jimmy Carter years. Would Jimmy Carter have lost in 1980 for re-election under any circumstances? Maybe, but it was guaranteed that he was going to lose because of the nominee. Ronald Reagan was so persuasive. He had a message. He was uplifting. He had a vision for the future, and he drew so many people in that you ended up not just getting a Jimmy Carter loss, but a change in politics in this country for a generation.
All right, so as we look up at the GOP standings right now, is there any generational change, once in a generation quality candidate?
That's the case the books make, because that's the moment we're facing.
Right, but as we look at who's out there, is there that candidate?
Well, you know, we're going to have to see what they grow into. I think one of the issues with this field is that everyone's trying to be Donald Trump and have Donald Trump's fight. Yeah. But it makes her a very angry, bitter field.
You've been doing this for a long time. Come on. People don't grow into it. Either they have it or they don't.
I think campaigns can hone you in a way. And sometimes you also get resets. You know, we're hearing right now Ron DeSantis, he's switching out his campaign team. So, you know, who knows? I still remember Mitt Romney mid-campaign rolled out a brand new campaign from one weekend to the next. So sometimes things
That didn't work out so well.
It didn't work out so well. You're right. You're right. But we can't say, look, I mean, I think all of them have the ability. Look, Tim Scott, very optimistic. Right. You know, Ron DeSantis, he's been much more focused, I think, on some of the things that divide us, but he's got an agenda that I think is very persuasive. Nikki Haley thinks outside of the box on some really key issues. Vivek Ramaswamy, oh my God, talk about energy.
Yeah, well, yeah. Fair enough. All right, Biden malaise. We've used the word malaise before, and the poll numbers certainly support that. Thank you. Congrats.
Thank you. Thanks so much. It's good to see you.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.